So, what if I told you that a single broken toaster in your trash could spark an international trade dispute? It sounds crazy, I know. But today, we're diving into this incredible story where a massive waste crisis is colliding with a truly radical software solution. It's about a company that decided to stop treating trash like a problem and started treating it like crude oil, all inside something they call a digital refinery.
All right, so here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll get into the geopolitical mess that started this whole trash war. Then, we'll check out the wild tech solution they came up with. We'll weigh the arguments for and against it. And finally, we'll try to come to a verdict on this whole digital gamble.
Okay, so first up, let's set the scene. Because to really get why this software even exists, you have to understand the enormous pressure cooker that is Ontario's waste management system. We're talking about a situation so intense it's threatening to blow up into a full-on trade war over, well, garbage. So, can your trash really cause an international incident? It sounds like a joke, but the answer is getting dangerously close to yes. And the whole thing starts with a massive, and I mean massive, economic imbalance that turned trash into a super hot export. And here is the root of the entire problem. Just look at these numbers. In Ontario, it can cost you over $100 to dump 1 ton of trash. But you drive that same truck just across the border into Michigan, and it can be as cheap as 36 cents. That huge gap created what's basically a trash trade, right? A huge incentive to just ship it all to the US. The problem is that loophole turned into an absolute nightmare at the border. And this is where that toaster comes back to bite you. A US customs agent can pull over a truck from Toronto, see a single toaster made in China, and say, hey, this isn't wholly obtained in Canada. And just like that, the entire load could get hit with crippling tariffs. So haulers are stuck playing this game of audit roulette, facing an impossible task. So with this crisis brewing, one company, 905 Wood, decided to make a really radical pivot. They realized that for a certain kind of waste, wood debris, the old haul and dump model was just totally broken. Their solution wasn't a bigger truck or a different route. It was all about the data. So what exactly is this digital refinery? Well, first off, it's not a building. There are no smokestacks. It's a sophisticated piece of software, basically an app on a phone. It's a workflow that takes a messy pile of old wood and refines it, not into new wood, but into a clean, verifiable, high-fidelity data asset. They literally started treating garbage like crude oil. And here's the core of how it works, in 3 steps. First, an operator on a job site just uses their phone. Google's Gemini AI does a visual scan of the wood to rate its quality, and the phone's GPS locks in its exact origin point. Boom, instant record. Second, the system's backend runs the numbers, calculating all the savings from avoided taxes and, get this, creating tradable carbon credits. And finally, it bundles all that data into a secure, audit-ready document. Okay, now let's get into the debate. For the people who believe in this system, it's not just some cool new app. They tell you it's an absolutely essential tool for surviving in what's become a really hostile regulatory world. This quote, man, it just says it all. The most valuable thing coming out of the digital refinery isn't actually the recycled wood. It's the data. It's this piece of paper. The final output is designed to be a digital shield you can use to defend yourself against all the chaos of border politics. And this is what that shield looks like. You know, for such a high-tech system, the UI/UX output is shockingly simple, a black and white PDF. The designers have this great term for it, industrial legibility. It's designed to look like it was printed in 1995 on purpose. Why? Because a border agent doesn't want a fancy dashboard. They want a stark, clear, undeniable piece of paper that can probably survive a coffee spill. And the financial argument here is just so powerful. You're not paying to get rid of a liability anymore. You're creating a compliance asset. That verified data proves you're diverting wood from landfills, which in turn generates valuable carbon credits you can sell. You're also dodging all these new taxes. It's pitched as a literal lifeboat for a company's balance sheet. And proponents will tell you this isn't just a theory. They point to hard data. This 98.4% number, that's a real-time efficiency score for waste diversion, tracked live across dozens of sites. To them, it's proof that you can actually bring this level of control to what's always been a really chaotic industry. But, and this is a big but, there is a very powerful counter-argument. You've got skeptics who look at all of this and say that this sleek, elegant software is dangerously out of touch with the messy, dirty physical world it's supposed to be managing. And this quote just nails the skeptical viewpoint. It doesn't matter how brilliant your algorithm is. At the end of the day, it's being used on a muddy construction site where things are messy and people make mistakes. It's this fundamental clash between a perfect digital idea and a very imperfect physical reality. And this gets to the core of their argument, what they call the visual fallacy. See, a smartphone camera captures light. It doesn't capture atoms. So the AI can look at a piece of wood and see, yep, looks clean. But it has no way of seeing the invisible arsenic in pressure-treated wood or the lead baked into old paint. And that creates this huge and, frankly, dangerous blind spot right at the start of the process. And the cost of just one failure here, it's not small. It could be absolutely catastrophic. If one load gets rejected because of contamination, the cost of hauling it all the way back, plus hazardous waste fees, could wipe out an entire month of profit. And that's not even the worst of it. It could damage millions of dollars of equipment, or even worse, trigger massive legal liability. The downside here is just immense. So after hearing both sides of the story, where does that actually leave us? Well, it leaves us with this really impressive, brilliantly designed system that is staring right into the face of a very, very unforgiving physical world. The success of this whole thing really just hinges on whether it can bridge the gap between these two worlds. On one hand, you have the digital twin, this perfect, clean, verifiable data living in the cloud. And on the other, you have the dirty demolition, the chaotic, muddy, unpredictable reality on the ground. But maybe this quote here is the best way to frame the final verdict. Because the old way of doing things, just hauling and dumping, is being regulated into oblivion. Landfills are closing, new taxes are coming. Doing nothing is pretty much a guaranteed path to failure. So is this new software a gamble? Absolutely. But it might just be the only gamble left on the table.
And all of this leaves us with one last really big question. This story isn't just about one company recycling wood in Ontario. It's really a test case for a much bigger idea. Can elegant software truly tame the messy, unpredictable chaos of the physical world? The answer, whatever it is going to tell us a lot about the future of industry, compliance, and technology itself.